Hey Trek Gang, what's going on in this week's episode of the Boeville Newtown? Well, it's right over here. Stand by and we'll get into what's happening this week. Well, hello Track Gang, and welcome to episode 29 for 2024. It happens to be the 29th, I believe, of 2024, and I'm right, it's Sunday, the 29th. And as you can see, I'm back here at the paint station, because something I've been working on, and a little bit of a backstory. I guess it was a couple of months ago I started wanting to paint some brickwork that is going to go on either side of the dam, on that cliff face, because there's some things that are going to happen there. I've touched on it in the past, but I'm going to go ahead and just give you the full story here. What it is the bottom part of it will be brickwork. Then there's going to be some rock outcroppings, and then eventually there'll be trees above that. I've looked at the rock castings that I've got, and I think I can make them work for what I want to do. So basically what it is the brickwork is going to be holding back the rocks, and then of course the trees above that are holding back the rest of it. And the whole thing here is trying to create a little bit of depth on an area that's probably basically about, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inches deep. So, yeah, you talk about trying to expand something that really is tight. But the problem was, going back to the brickwork, I wasn't happy with it. And I tried, my daughter just texted me, hold on just a minute. Sorry about that, wanted to make sure everything was good with her. She's actually out at her boyfriend John's place. Anyway, so I wasn't happy with the paint on the brickwork. And that was why I decided to shift gears and build this monster spray booth, because I was like, probably airbrushing this brickwork is going to work out a lot better than trying to paint it with the paint brushes and things that I was doing in the past. And as I kind of stated in last Friday's video, I ran into a bit of a problem. And that was the fact that when I started painting this, I wasn't happy with the color originally. And I also ran out of red paint, and I'm like, this is really not good, because what I decided to do, instead of trying to darken it up with black, I darkened it up with gray. And when I did that, it really changed the pigment. I mean, it really changed the color. And the more I was looking at it, and I actually took the pieces that I painted and I took them out to the layout and was like, you know what? This doesn't look half bad. And not to mention the fact that since I'm still messing with this brush a little bit, the paint isn't on there perfectly even, which adds some character to those bricks. So I've got 3 more pieces that were originally done with the paintbrush. And yesterday what I did is I soaked them in water and a little bit of soap, hand soap, and then came behind it with a one of those sponges that has the grit on the one side, and I took all that old paint off. Well, better part of it anyways. As you can see, there's still a little bit of the pigment left on there. I'm not too concerned about that, because actuality, this gives it a little bit of tooth. Now that's what it's supposed to look like, and that's what it does look like. That's before I paint it. So, a couple of things have gone on here. Let me go ahead and I'm actually going to swing into the booth here a little bit more. and we're going to talk about a couple of the things that I've done. And of course, I'm really not in a position here that I really want to be in, but that's okay. Okay, first off, I went to the dollar store and I picked up 2 packages of 10 of these things. For those that drink, you might think of these as Jello shooter jars. That's not what I bought them for. What I did buy them for is to be able to mix paint. Now, the nice thing with these is they actually come with a cover. So I can mix the paint up, and then when I've got extra, like I've got in here, this is the rest of the red, I can cover it, and it holds. Beautiful. Wonderful. So I'm not losing paint. If you remember correctly, back when I was doing the stuff with the paint brushes and all, I was using the artist palettes, these things, and I was covering them up with a with a Ziploc bag to try and keep the paint from drying out on me, which works to a point, but it's not great. These are going to work obviously a lot better. So the first thing I'm going to do here is we're going to take a tool that was sent to me by oh my goodness, and the dude's gonna shoot me now. Manny Fernandez sent me this neat little thing from Micro Market. It's a paint stirrer. It's a battery operated paint stirrer, which is even better. Of course, I forgot to take it out of the spray booth at one point and I sprayed it. So what I'm going to do before I pour this into the jar for the spray paint, or for the sprayer, we're going to mix this up a little bit, make sure everything's good and mixed. And going back to, I did find out, going back to Barnabas Rex and a couple other airbrushing sites, that really this should be like a 1-to-1 mix. So 1 part paint, 1 part water, and you could also go ahead and throw in a couple drops of airbrush stuff too, which I haven't done. I don't have any of that. I haven't mixed any up, so it is what it is. It's okay, it's fine, you know, whatever. Alright, so now that that's decently mixed, I am going to pour that, and I'm going to pour basically all of it into the container here. But we're going to close that back up so I don't spill what little is left. Now, a couple of things here. One of the things that I've done is I've kept myself a solo cup here, and no, this isn't for drinking either. In fact, if you notice, it's got paint down at the bottom. What I've been doing when I get done with the brush, I pour the paint back, whatever paint's left, I pour it back into the little paint keeper, and then I fill up the glass jar with water and I spray it into there to go ahead and just clear the brush out. Now, is that really the way you're supposed to do it? No, it's not. But it is what it is. That's what I'm doing. So we're going to turn on the noisemaker over here and just make sure I'm getting paint, which it does appear. I've got my little test subject here, and that looks pretty good. So we're going to pull down one of the brick pieces, and we're going to spray it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide that back a little bit. Now, one of the other things I'm finding out with this booth is what I probably should have done is I should have put something over the base, because I've been spraying right on it and now I've got paint all over the base of this thing. There's probably other ways that I could do this to where I wasn't screwing this up, but that's okay. It's a spray booth. Couple of passes, and we can throw that one back there, let that one dry, and then we've got the last one. Alright, and we'll let that one dry. Let's see what that looks like when it's done. Turn that off for the moment. And I've still got plenty of paint left, which is fine because I'm sure I'm going to run into something else where I'm going to want that color. So we'll let this dry and see what we got. And I can tell you, just dealing with this, what I've been doing so far, the fan is working great, the filter is working great. I'm starting to see paint basically all over the filter, which is a good thing. So having that angled contraption behind the filter, probably really not needed. I do know one thing, and that's the fact that because I'm spraying kind of down, the bottom part of the filter is starting to fill up, obviously, with paint. The upper part isn't, and that's the design of the box. And of course, let's go back to the box here for a second. I made this to where the filter comes out the right side. Yeah, well, not thinking ahead, I should have probably had it come out the top, because it would be easier to get it out. I may go back and decide to cut the top out instead of the side and do it that way, have it come out the top. I haven't gotten there yet. I want to see what happens with this. But so far, the booth is working out great. I'm really happy with how the spray booth itself is working, and this is giving me a whole nother dimension to doing paint work down here for certain. Now, one thing that, and I forgot who it was, made mention in one of the videos past, was, about wanting to spray enamels and things of that nature, the oil-based paints, which obviously I cannot do down here. There's no ventilation to the outside. And what my thoughts are, if this works out the way it is thus far, what I may end up doing is building a second box now that my garage is sort of straightened out. I may end up building a second box and putting that into the garage to where I can spray lacquers and enamels and things of that nature, the oil-based paints. It would just, again, add another dimension. It would give me something else that I could paint, because then I could paint, because I can kind of paint in that garage year-round. Summertime it might get a little tight because of the fact that that garage gets a little warm. But during the fall, winter, spring, it may not be too bad. So that's kind of the thoughts there. I may end up building a second one of these now that I know how well this is working. And just have that one vented straight outside. Again, have to see how this works over the next couple of months, and we'll go from there. But like I said, we're going to let these dry. Let me take you out to the layout, and I'll show you the ones that I have painted that are dry. And you can see what I'm talking about with this. So give me a minute, we'll be right back. Okay, so here's one piece that's been painted already. And if you notice there's a little bit of white above it, that's because there's another piece that'll go over top of that. And you can see with this piece what I was talking about, where the paint didn't go on very even, and it's got character. I mean, I'm happy about that. I mean, I'm not looking for perfection here. You don't want it to be one perfect solid color. This was another piece. This one here was actually done first, and I'm going to be cutting this one down because it's too long, but it'll match up, I think, pretty good there. Anyway, that's one side. Now, the three pieces that we just got finished painting belong over here. From the bridge down to here. And as you can see, we've got some others that have a few more flaws in them. And like I said, I'm fine with that. And then I've got this piece here, which I think was still done with the brush. But it's light enough that I don't think it's going to be a problem. So that's the plan here, is to go ahead and get these in, get these glued up, and then I'm going to go ahead and make some cuts behind this to be able to put my rock work, and then from the rock work up will be the trees. And I think that's going to, in fact, I've still got one tree sitting over here. but you kind of get the idea as to what's going to happen here. You're literally blocking the fact that the tracks are right up against the edge of the cliff face. And I think that this is going to work out. Now, the other thing is you'll notice, and I don't think it's going to show up unless I bring the camera up, so give me a minute. Whoop. Wire gets stuck. I have not finished painting up here yet. And there was a reason. I noticed that I may have made a slight goof with this, but I think I'm going to leave it. And that's the fact that with these sidewalks here, really in reality, there would only be a sidewalk coming from the driveway over to the front of the house and not from the front of the house out to the street. That's okay, that's fine. I'm going to leave it that way. I think it'll look good. The only problem is like with this one and this one, the area between the driveway and the sidewalk is really thin. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that, but we'll see what happens when I get to it. And of course, the other side of the bridge over here, I haven't even touched this yet because, as we all know, when I did the left side, I noticed that of course the foam core, because it is paper, does have a tendency to warp. And I think what I'm going to end up doing over on this side is gluing it down first and then coming back and painting it, so that way it doesn't warp on me as bad. I think it's still going to warp, but it'll be just like my brain. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at the moment, and we'll see what happens with those other pieces, and we'll be back. Alright folks, I'm just going to pan across here. I do not have this glued in yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to use the foam friendly adhesive or if I'm going to use white glue, but there is at least this side. Now I can tell you I actually went back and a couple of the pieces were on the really light side, so I darkened them up or gave them another coat, and that obviously darkened them up. But I'm quite pleased in person. It may not show up as well on camera, but in person the effect is rather unique. How it is a little, that the paint didn't cover 100%, I guess is the best way to put it. So I'm happy with that though. Like I said, the next thing is to actually glue it in place. So give me a minute, I'm going to swing around and get on camera here. Okay. Just to let everybody know, I just got finished working with Rachel on the Google form, which will be linked in the description. If you are coming to either the train show and back to the house for the open house, and you're going to stick around for food after the fact, please fill out the form. Let me know so that way I can get a head count ahead of time. I am going to close the form probably going to be next Thursday, because of the fact that if there is a lot of folks that are going to hang out here after the fact, then I'm probably going to want to talk to somebody to make sure that they've got a little bit of a heads up, so that way I can get stuff in. I know a couple places that I can do that last minute type of thing, or at least a day in advance, and I'll be fine. But I don't want to be, still collecting data on Friday the 11th. That's not going to work. So the plan is probably 11:59 Thursday night, which there will be one more video, and I'll link it back to this one, or I'll let everybody know about this one. Actually, it won't matter, because by that point, but 11:59 next Thursday, which is the 10th, I am going to close the form, so that way if you are coming, I know, so that way we can get that taken care of. I do know that I have at least one person that texted me. Steve, thank you very much. I will make sure that we keep a spot because I know you're not paying as much attention to YouTube as you had in the past, and I'm glad you're feeling better, bud. But Yeah, and I just realized that there's something missing on the layout, and I just happened to catch it. How the heck did that happen? No, I was just over here looking at Waker. I don't normally look at while I'm sitting here and look off to the left, and I happen to notice that the inbound slot for the car cards isn't marked anymore. I don't know what happened to that sticker, but it's not there. I've got to put a label on that. Anyway, this is stupid stuff that you find. Sidetracked. Anywho, so that'll be the plan. So by next Thursday, please let me know if you're planning on meeting up, number one. Number two, planning on coming back to the house and hanging out and getting some food. Like I said, I will have on hand sodas, Coke. If there is something special that you drink, we've also got plenty of water, trust me. I have plenty of water, plenty of Coke. Coca-Cola. Don't get the wrong idea there. I'm going to get banned off YouTube before this is done. Anyway. Soda. There we go. Plenty of soda, plenty of water. I do make my own iced tea. Lipton iced tea in a Mr. Tea or Mr. Coffee teapot. So I will make some extra of that too to have that on hand. But if there is something that you prefer to drink, you know, you bring it along, but don't worry about, you know, I'm going to order in some food. I know that somebody had mentioned something about a contribution bucket. I may end up still doing that. If you feel better just giving it to me by hand, that's fine too. But you know, we'll play that by ear. I am, you know, we're things kind of turned a little bit, but it's you know, it is the nature of the beast at the moment. Any rate, still plan on the meeting up at the train show at the what I call the northwest portal, which is the portal when you come into the building that is off to the right and all the way in the back. I plan to meet there at 11:30-ish. I mean, if you get there early, you get there early. That's great. But 11:30-ish, back at that northwest portal. I will make mention of that again next week. I do hope to get another video done before then, before the train show. But if not, at least everything is on this video, and we're going to be straight. That is Saturday. And then Sunday, as we've mentioned before, if you are going to the Stella Maris Crab Feast, which happens to be right next door to the Cow Palace over at the Exhibition Hall, doors open, I believe, at 12:30. You do not have to wait for me to get there. Rachel and actually her boyfriend John, John's volunteering. And it's all assigned seating. So they've got everybody together by table. So when you sign in, somebody will take you or tell you what table number you're supposed to be, and you can go back there. I probably will get there around 12:30-ish. But if you're early, that's fine. If you're running behind, that's fine too. Don't worry about it. Right now, from what I understand, it's me, my wife, Rachel's boyfriend John. I think he'll be sitting down with us from time to time. Rachel will stop by from time to time. Ron from the Southwest Railroad will be there. Dave, Sparky 107 will be there. And I believe Bob from PK&W Model Works is also going to be there. And my buddy Big John. You all have met Big John. Most of you have seen him on here. Some of you that have been to the house have met Big John. He's been here for a couple of the train shows. He'll be there on Sunday. He won't be here Saturday, unfortunately. He will be here Sunday. The tickets for the Stella Maris Crab Feast have closed. That happened on Tuesday at 5 o'clock, I believe. So unfortunately, they don't have any more for sale. They're done. Sorry about that. but they've all closed that down. I do know that the online auction opened today, or is opening tomorrow morning. I think it's actually opening tomorrow morning. I take that back. It opens tomorrow morning, so that'll be that'll be online tomorrow. But otherwise, I'm really looking. I really look forward to these train shows and these meetups, because, you know, with the community and of course everything that we've been through over the last few years, getting together is big, and it's good for the psyche. You know, it's good for mental health and so on and so forth, to be able to get out and hang out, and of course get picked on and everything else. It's the nature of the beast, but that's what we do. You know, I couldn't ask for a better group of folks to hang out with. You know, so I really do appreciate everybody, and I know that I picked up a couple of new subscribers, because I did get a chance, lo and behold, I got a chance to sit in on James over at the Dundas Junction Off Track Monday. I did get a chance to pop in there. I know I picked up a few new subs there. Welcome aboard to the crazy train, as I like to call it. I am going to do more work on the railroad, and you'll see that. I'm hoping that some of you have gone back and looked at the videos. Like I said, this here, for any of my newest subscribers, really the reality is what you want to watch is the playlist that says New Beginnings 2019. That's when I started building this monster, and I call it a monster because it is a 34 foot by 8 foot layout, freestanding. It's in the middle of the, well, not in the middle of the room, but it's not up against the wall. It's actually away from the wall. And this thing, I've actually run some more trains. This thing is a blast to operate on, even by myself. I've still got a lot of bugs to fix on this thing before I can really start having, you know, multiple people over here to do an op session. I apologize. I was hoping that I would be further along with the scenery work, because, and I've mentioned it a couple of times I think already, but I'll mention it again. Up underneath of Boeville on the south end, that's where the train station, or that's where the station is, and there's under the station tracks. Those tracks are all covered by a second deck, which happens to be the interurban line. The problem is there is a bad connection on the southbound run, which is the outer loop. On the southbound run, coming out of the train station, that curved turnout has got a bad rail joint, and I think a bad solder joint on the throw them, or on the turnout points themselves. And it's a bugger to get to because of the fact that I put all this stuff up, and then of course I put the backdrop up. So the only way to get to the darn thing is to go ahead and take the back part of the backdrop down and then pick up downtown Boeville. I was waiting to do that when I go over there to do the scenery, because I want that, you know, because I've got other things that I have to do underneath of there anyway. I have to finish running the bus wiring for the interurban, and I also wanted to go ahead and start putting in the circuits, since I'm going to have it apart, putting in the circuits for the building lights and the street lights. Now, it sounds like I'm getting ahead of myself, and I probably am, but again, if I'm going to have it apart, that's a good time to go ahead and start putting some of that, or start thinking about where that's all going to end up. So I've already been at this for 11 minutes. I'm apologizing now if this video ends up being extremely long, but you all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Sorry, stoplight. Sidetrack Sunday. This Sunday is John #2 over at the Schuylkill River Valley, and that is at 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, so go check him out. I'm not sure what he's working. I'm not sure if he's working on the diner still, or if he's working on something else now. But we'll have to tune in and see what John #2 is up to over there. So you all know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe, God bless, and we will catch you all next time. See ya.